Hi everyone, this is Dunk, and I'm here with a quick update. This update is mostly bug fixes, no new items, but a few new things that I think I should mention just to get them out of the way. So the first one is that we can place a stacked log and put a soaked hide on top of it, so you no longer need to find a thick log in order to work with hides. I mean, I guess it doesn't really provide the flattest working surface, but I don't know. It was requested, and I kind of see where people are coming from, especially with certain spawns. It can be very difficult to find thick logs, so I thought this made some sense. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is the inventory. So I am changing the GUI in this update. I made this interface, the texture for it, a little while ago. Didn't implement it, but I figure I'm getting kind of tired of having these slots where they don't belong. So we have this setup here. You actually see there are 4 slots that are disabled in the middle here, and that is because I am planning to have another 4 clothing slots. Currently we have the you can actually shift click that now. Currently we have the coat going into this slot, the armor slot, but that will actually go into this slot, and this slot will be exclusively for armor. So that way you won't be limited by like if it's a cold environment, you won't be like, well, I guess I can't wear armor because that would, or maybe I'll just be too cold or whatever. So I thought that was kind of necessary. Also, I think it's much easier to understand where the back slot is. It was kind of off the screen. That was a little weird. So that's fixed. Another thing we can do with having this extra slot is we could have like socks, boots, and then like snowshoes or something. And that, I think that really makes sense. And like I'm gonna add chainmail or mail at some point, and maybe that goes in the middle slot. I don't know. I don't know where all that stuff goes. Maybe like a what do you call it? Like you'd have like your clothing, your armor, and then your gambeson. Yeah, that's the word. Like you could do something like that. So that's just kind of like a placeholder. But I think the thing that is going to be most is going to affect gameplay the most is clothing wetness. So that was something I demoed way back and then disabled because it was causing some item duplication and some nasty things because of constant updates to the items. I've re-implemented it without the constant updates. Part of that is because I figured out how to properly, silly kind of that I didn't do this properly before, how to properly tell when you're in the water or not, to tell when your clothing should be wet. There were some weird things going on before. Like if you were like right up against the shore, it wouldn't recognize that you were in the water. So let's see, if we like get into the water here, we can see that's soaked. Now that used to happen before. If you were in the water, your clothing would just show that it was soaked if it was soaked. But when we get out of the water, it's still soaked. And it will actually remain soaked indefinitely. And we can see that if we put on our coat and we get in the water, it's not soaked. Our feet are though, but if we go down, now it's soaked. So now we have the soaking wet coat, the soaking wet socks, and they don't provide anything anymore. So let's just take those off. You might have noticed that you can shift click into these slots now. So let's just grab some sticks if we can find some. We have 1 stick, so we can actually just oh, that was the wrong tool to make. All right. Now we get a knife because I do have some logs here, and we'll make some poles, and then we'll just snap the poles and I said snap the poles in half. Okay. Oh, I didn't. I thought I grabbed the fire starter. I guess I grabbed the stick instead. Oh well. Okay, so oh no, I do have a bow drill right here. Oh my. blind? Jeez. Alright. Okay. So throw those up there, and then we can put the socks in here, and if we just watch... Wait and watch. Now it says damp, which doesn't actually have a noticeable difference for the socks. Damp and soaked socks are just as poor because, and now they're done. But on the coat, it'll be a little more obvious. When it transfers to damp, only one level of each heat and cold resistance will be affected. Yep, so as you can see, dampness is normally only attainable when it's raining. So if it's raining, clothing will become damp, but if you're wearing a coat, then any shirt underneath will not become damp. So that's something to keep in mind, is that if you wear layers, you can sort of protect the under layers with the outer layers. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the sun. So as you can see, I put this coat on, and suddenly it's way too hot. If we stand under the shade, though, under this tree, you'll notice that it actually got a little cooler. So it's worse out in the sun, and it's better in the shade. If I put the straw hat on in the shade, you can see that, as the straw hat says, it's got heat resistance of 1. And that affected our heat resistance over here by 1. Oop. Let's get that back. But if we go back out into the sun, it didn't go back up. So the straw hat specifically, the two types of straw hat, they allow, they protect you from the heat of the sun. So if it's too hot outside and you're out in the sun, doesn't matter if it's, if it was nighttime or it was raining, this wouldn't apply at all. But if it's daytime and you're too hot and you're out in the sun, then it'll actually count as a little bit hotter than if you were wearing the hat. So the heat goes down, so you actually saw the heat went down and my heat resistance went up at the same time. So that's effectively 2 levels of protection when you're out in the sun. And I will be adding more types of brimmed hats in the future. It won't just be the straw hat. So that's something also to keep in mind. They currently don't exist, but they will. Alright, so apart from that, there's been a number of bug fixes. Inventories were having some issues. Some weapons were having some issues, like the staff didn't have a weapon speed. If there was a block behind a monster, and the weapon speed wouldn't matter. That's all fixed. So hopefully a number of things are now working, and the game should be playable again. Sorry that it took a while to get this out. It's now, Thursday, and I got back on Sunday. But just getting back into my my job at work and other personal stuff. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick little update, and I'll see y'all next time.